And I've had the good fortune of working with people like Denzel Washington, Woody Harrelson, James Marsden, and, a bunch of others who've been nominated.
Ben Affleck, all these people.
Ben Affleck, right? One thing they kind of all have in common is they're open, meaning that they're open to accepting. They don't try to take over anything. When you're in a scene with them, they kind of give you that space to grow, and they kind of go with things, and that's what a seasoned actor does. Because sometimes you say the lines, going back to like the script thing, sometimes the lines don't work the way they're written, and we end up changing it, and all of a sudden it works better.
Louisa Live.
This season of Louisa Live is made possible by our exclusive presenting sponsor, Gary Keshishin Real Estate. Welcome back, guys, to Louisa Live. I'm your host, Louisa Sharamatian. Today's guest has been dubbed the man of many faces by casting directors, known for his ability to transform across cultures, accents, and characters with incredible authenticity. Born in Armenia and raised in the Bay Area, he built a successful career in business before boldly pivoting in his 40s to pursue acting full-time. Since then, he's appeared in hit shows like NCIS Los Angeles, Ray Donovan, True Detective, across major networks including Hulu, Netflix, CBS, NBC, Fox, Showtime, as well as films like Argo and The Little Things. You may also recognize him from Emily the Criminal, and of course, he can currently be seen on Euphoria. Coming up, he stars in the Apple TV series Sugar, premiering June 19th, where he appears alongside Colin Farrell. Welcome, Jack Topalian.
Good to be here. Good to see you again.
I know.
What was that guy thinking, transitioning into a different career in his 40s?
This is incredible.
Yeah.
The fact that you did that, you pursued your passion, mid-40s, early 40s, and we'll talk about that, things that people are often scared to do. I'm happy you're here.
I'm happy to be here.
You know what's great? Because I don't fully know you, so it's great. It's going to be, wonderful to truly catch up and just, I saw you recently at the Winter Song premiere.
We did. That's right. We were there together.
When was
watching. That was a couple of months ago on the Warner lot.
Yeah, you were there.
That was a big turnout for the Winter Song,
I know.
Nice Armenian rom-com movie.
Yeah, first
Armenian rom-com in English,
to be filmed in
Armenia,
by Storbia Foundation. And
Angela Satarian, big shout out to her. Yeah.
Armenians in the business.
That's right.
God, so much to talk about. Jack, I don't even know where to start. Euphoria. I mean, I really want to start with that and then go back about your journey and pursuing your dreams, maybe the unconventional route that we just spoke about. But talk about Euphoria, the episode that just premiered a few days ago, the chaotic wedding scene, so much going on, the feedback from people. We were just in the kitchen talking about this. A few words about that first.
The whole journey has been pretty amazing. I mean, honestly, when my agent said, "Hey, they want you to come in for a personal audition," because typically nowadays we're doing like on-tape auditions, right? Ever since COVID happened.
Which is annoying.
It's got its good, pluses and minuses. The good thing is if you mess up on something, you get to kind of redo it again. But I personally like walking into a room because I think when you're walking into a room and speak with another person, there's a different energy you bring, right?
Yeah.
So I went in for the audition. They called me back for a producer session where they kind of made all the decisions. And next thing I know, I'm on set, and one of the first days was actually that wedding scene with Jacob and Sydney.
Wow.
It was intense because I walked in. First of all, it reminded me of like the banquet halls of Glendale.
Yeah.
The way it was set up. And I turned to Sam Levinson, the creator and writer and director for Euphoria. I said, "Hey, Sam, we could have done this at Glendale. You didn't have to set all this up.
Colorado.
I know a few guys." And he goes "I'm sure you know a couple of guys, right?" But it was pretty amazing the way they set it up, and big turnout.
Yeah.
But it was intense to kind of walk in on that first day. That was one of the first days. I mean, I had done some smaller scenes with Maud Apatow and some others, But this was like a big scene, right? You walk in.
And you are in every episode this season, correct?
Pretty much. I'm not in episode 1, but yeah, my character showed up on episode 2 because Jacob, I guess, borrowed a bunch of money from him.
Yeah.
And now he's having a hard time, or Jacob, I should say, Nate, borrowed a bunch of money from him, and now he's having a hard time being able to pay it back.
Yeah, and I feel like, you know, you evolved so much in your roles, right? And because you started mid-40s, do you feel like characters right now, like Nas and all of that, are things that you experienced in your life, so it's sometimes easier to kind of go into?
Well, I think when you're older, like in my case, I've lived a life.
I know.
I've been in business. I've traveled a lot. I know people of all walks of life. You know, so as an artist, you kind of draw on that. You know, I like watching people. I like studying people. I think people are just interesting overall. And I do know characters, you know, here and there. But you kind of have to, or at least me, when I kind of get, you know, the sides or when I get the script of something, I create my own character. I mean, meaning like, this is the way I see this person. This is the way he would talk. This is the way he would sit. This is the way he would like look at someone. This is the way he would drink his coffee, whatever the case may be. So I have to create my own interpretation. And I think most actors kind of do it like that. I don't pretend to be like Jack Nicholson or Marlon Brando in The Godfather. You know, that's kind of a cliche. That means you're copying somebody's work. And I think as an artist, you have to kind of create your own version. It could be something similar, but it has to be your own spin on it. You know, kind of like what you do. You know, you're doing these great interviews, and there's many people doing it, but you have something unique that other people don't have, per se.
The Louisa touch.
The Louisa touch, you know? And great flowers, too.
Thank you, though. Anna's Secret Garden.
Oh, wow.
You.
Okay, cool.
Thank you. You're taking it home, by the way.
All right,
of my
I'll
guests
take
go
it for
home.
my wife. She'll love that.
You know, speaking of personal touch and characters and Nas, right? The character in Euphoria.
Right.
Do you think Sam wrote this specifically for you, or he didn't know? Like, he just wrote this Armenian character and then you popped up?
I don't think he even wrote it as an Armenian because his name is Nassim.
Oh, Nassim. Of course, I made it so hard when I said Nas.
But then it became Nas for short. And I don't know. I can't.
Yeah.
I've never asked him that, to be honest with you. But I know he had a kind of a vision in his head of who this character might be. But I want the audience to kind of understand. Sometimes that's a, you know, there's 3 things that happen within a film or within a TV show. There's the one you write. The one you film is very different because you have to adapt to the environment, or sometimes scripts get changed.
Right.
And then the one you end up cutting, you know, the editing and assembling, is sometimes very different. So I don't know if Sam had me or an Armenian in mind.
Yeah.
But I think when he met me, you know, like most good writers and producers, they try to bring in elements of a person's character into the role. And if he sensed something that I had, and in fact, you know, a couple of times I would play him a different way, and he would redirect me. And I think Sam's a genius. I mean, the way he was just kind of guiding, not just myself, but just kind of the whole, I mean, you have no idea how big this production is, especially that wedding day.
Yeah.
We must have had like 300 extras.
300.
I swear to God, they were like all
huge.
these tables of 12 and 14 people. I felt like I walked into a real wedding. There was a band. A guy looked like James Brown. And if you've seen the episode, you know.
Yeah.
They were there like a full-on band playing the music. So everything that you would see in a normal wedding. And Sam's as calm as he can be. I've never seen anybody. And I would go up to him. I'm like, man, how are you this calm?
Yeah.
He's like, I just love doing this.
Yeah.
So he knows what he wants. He's got a vision. And obviously now that I see what this vision's been, because 3rd season is very different from seasons 1 and 2.
And there was a break for a few years.
For 4 years. And the story takes place 5 years after the fact, where these high school kids are now adults. So they're living in the real world. They have real responsibilities, and some of those responsibilities have real consequences, like in the case for Nate.
Yeah.
You know, where he's trying to live outside his means.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it reminds me of some people that I know that are trying to pretend to be something, but they're really not. And it's, I think, and if anybody who's watching that, it's kind of a good lesson that, hey man, you know, there's nothing wrong with wanting something in life, but you can't just jump ahead of the line. You kind of got to go through a process.
I love that you just said this, because we also spoke about the Instagram comments and how people are saying, hey, can you make a video? I want my daughter to take away a lesson and all of that.
Yeah.
Talk about people living, within their means, not doing it for other people, and understanding that it's not overnight. It's okay to build slowly and not get into issues like, the characters in that scene.
Well, it's funny. I come from a world of construction, right?
Yeah.
So I grew up in that business. And I always say construction is kind of like movie making. You can't build a house right away. You got to do the foundation, the framing, the insulation, the roof. So it takes a bunch of steps to get the house.
Yeah.
And the movie making is the same way. But in reality, life is the same way. You can't just walk in and say, hey, I'm going to be on this hit TV show or this movie, or I'm going to be a talk show host. Yeah, every once in a while, like what, 1 in a million, that may happen. But most of us have to go through a process, and you have to kind of go through those steps. And I think nowadays I see, and I can't speak for everyone, obviously, but, I see kind of the younger generation, because we have access to Instagram and TikTok and a bunch of other social media sites. Sometimes they want instant gratification, and it doesn't really happen that way. I think you kind of have to work through that. And seeing a show like this, maybe the takeaway, and I know maybe Sam's ideas were like, hey, these are some of the pitfalls of becoming an adult. So, slow and steady. There's an old saying, slow and steady wins the race, like the turtle and the hare, the rabbit and the turtle,
Yeah.
So, it takes time to build anything, and you just kind of have to be patient. Look, I'm Armenian. I'm about as impatient as we come. You know this. It's like, right now, right now, we want it right now. It's like, right. And my wife's like, sometimes like, all right, okay. Hangastasi. But, we've been married over 30 years, so she knows my personality, right? But I think I've become much calmer in life.
Yeah.
And, and I realize, and I say the same thing to my kids, is have a goal, have a vision, have a plan, and just work it. It'll happen.
So much wisdom there that our younger generation needs to hear. Slowest is the fastest way to the top.
Absolutely.
That's a given fact.
Absolutely.
To do it right and within your internal timeline. Like you said, there are sometimes, cool stories that it happens overnight, and it's not. If, let's say, a 20-year-old is watching right now and says, oh my God, I want to be on a hit HBO show. I'm going on all these auditions. I don't have side hustles to pay the bills and all of that. What kind of advice would you give that person that really thinks it is overnight, but we both know it's not?
The one thing I would just say is just keep working your craft, because when that opportunity does come up, you have to be prepared. Because I think a lot of times, most of us in life, in anything we do, sometimes and I know I'm guilty of this myself, because when I was younger, I wanted things, and sometimes I wasn't ready, and things happened and I didn't know how to handle it. So I felt it, right? And I think when you're younger, say, so someone that wants to be an actor, wants to be on a show or a movie, I would just say keep doing your lessons, keep going to class, keep studying, working your craft, and just be prepared. Be prepared, when that opportunity does come, when you get that audition, that when you walk into the room, do your best. Now, here's the one big misconception I think most people in the industry have. They think that sometimes that when you get rejected, or in most times, most actors get rejected most of the time. Okay, that doesn't mean you're a bad actor or you did something wrong. A lot of times, it's none of those things. It's maybe they're looking for a particular type. You're not tall enough. You're not short enough. You're not, your hair is a different color.
Oh,
Jacob Elordi on set, we became friends, obviously. We spend a lot of time together. And one of the funniest things he told me is like, hey, Jack, when I used to go out for auditions, I would always say that I'm 6 foot tall or 6'1", because I realized when I would say like I'm 6'5", sometimes I wouldn't get the audition or I wouldn't get the job because he was too tall.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that you should lie about who it is, but it's just But then once he's on set, he's an actor.
Yeah.
He's prepared. I mean, you've seen.
Yeah,
some
he's
of this.
incredible. And isn't he an Oscar winner or nominated?
He's Oscar nominated for Frankenstein.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm sure the set that you were part of was incredible. Like,
I mean, the work
Sydney,
ethic that he brings,
Yeah.
and Sydney. I mean,
Sydney.
I work with them the most, you know,
Yeah.
and I work with Maud and some others,
Yeah.
you know, like Sademi.
Of course.
She's a Glendale shout out, you know.
Yeah.
I guess she lived in Glendale for a while.
Oh, Glendale girls.
Yeah. So their work ethic is
Yeah.
amazing. I mean, they don't get to be an Oscar nominated. Like Jacob doesn't
Yeah.
get to be Oscar nominated. I mean, you watch his work.
Yeah.
And I've seen him work every day. I mean, some of those scenes that he did, the home invasion
Yeah.
thing,
Yeah.
that's really him doing all the stunts.
Really? Oh my God.
The
I
only
got
one,
goosebumps. Oh
I
my
swear to God, the only one thing is when the guy rolls down the stairs, that was a stunt double. And if Sam would have let him, Jacob probably would have done that himself
Oh
too.
my gosh.
Because he like dives into his work.
What did you take away working with him that day or like over the weeks and months? Any lesson that you said I can apply to a different role one day?
You know, it's not so much like a particular lesson.
Yeah,
it's
just everything.
when you work with caliber actors
Yeah.
like him. Like he's young, but he's very talented.
Yeah.
And I've had the good fortune of working with people like Denzel Washington, Woody Harrelson,
my
you know,
God.
James Marsden, and you know, a bunch of others who've been
Ben
nominated.
Affleck, all these people.
Ben Affleck, right? One thing they kind of all have in common is they're open, meaning that they're open to accepting.
Mm-hmm.
They don't try to take over anything. You know, when you're in the scene with them, they kind of give you that space to grow,
Yeah.
and they kind of go with things, you know, and that's what a seasoned actor does. You know, because sometimes you say the lines, going back to like the script thing, sometimes the lines don't work the way
Yeah.
they're written, and we end up changing it, and then all of a sudden it works better. You know, the director or the writer says, hey, let's try this.
Yeah.
Or the two actors say, hey, can we try something different? I know, like on set with Sam, you know, I brought up a few ideas, and he was very receptive to it. In fact, when we realized, okay, my character is going to be Naz,
Yeah.
and he's going to be Armenian. In fact, there's a scene that's coming up in one of the episodes in my business, that coffin business that I have.
I love it.
There
It's
was
hilarious. Like the correlations of
I
everything.
swear to God, it's hilarious. Wait till you see that scene.
Oh my God.
There were like
So
these
much to
coffee
say.
cups there, not to give anything away, but there were like these Armenian coffee
Oh
cups.
my gosh.
And I said, hey, Sam, you know, those are like Armenian. He's like, yeah, you know, their set people are amazing. They've like done their homework, right? And I said, you know what? I like to have a coffee because I felt like my character in that scene, I'm not going to give the scene away, but I just felt like my character would have coffee, like Armenian coffee, since kofen achamon. And I said, you know what? And I think I need a cigarette too. And even though I don't smoke, but I
Yeah.
said I want a cigarette because I felt like that's what he would do.
Yeah.
And Sam said, let's try it. And I think they ended up leaving that in that particular
So
scene.
you really put like personal life and experiences into that, like
Yeah,
the
you have.
cigarette and all of that. It is what it is. It's so much.
But it's part of the it's
yeah.
part of the character.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that as an actor you have to be able to build that character, because the character's on paper and it's in somebody's mind. So whoever wrote this, like I write screenplays and I always have a vision of, you know, this particular person, what they look like, what they sound like, what they dress like. So I know how that is. And then when you see this person, you kind of say, oh, wow, that person kind of can become this character that I created. But then you're on set, and if that person brings ideas, you're going, wow, that's kind of cool. Let's try it.
So it's all about being fluid, right, and being open, and I think
And being prepared.
Yeah.
Being prepared, because you have to know your lines. You have to understand your character. You have to be able to get along with people, because there's like 100 people, 150 people. Everybody's got a job to do. You're one of those jobs.
Yeah.
Just because you're the one they're filming, and that doesn't mean there's nothing else going on. You're just the person that appears on film or
Yeah.
on the television screen. But there's these 150 people, not only on set, but all the work they've done ahead of time. So you have to be respectful of all of those people.
And
too.
I feel like most people listening now should know that a lot of work that they call you for has a lot to do how you behave on set and how responsible you are, right? Because
Yeah,
a lot
of
of times
course.
you can be so talented, but they won't call you back anymore because you're rude, and it's gone to your head. Like we said, be humble, which is so important.
And I think that's just
Yeah.
general for me. That's
Yeah.
just a general rule of thumb in anything in life. No matter what business you're in, it doesn't have to be acting
Yeah.
or the Hollywood industry. I think no matter, first of all, be humble, be respectful, be grateful. I mean, these are like very, very important things. And I think, sometimes when something happens too fast, going back to what you were
Right,
talking
you're
about,
not ready.
you're not ready. You don't know how to handle it, and it goes to your head. And look, I've been guilty of that myself. I found success in business at a very young age, and here I am. I'm
Yeah.
throwing my money. I'm buying all these things.
Bottle
and
service and everything.
yeah, exactly. Cars and this
Yeah.
and that. And then at one point, my dad's like, "Take it easy, take it easy." But I did listen
Yeah.
eventually, of course, and I didn't do anything crazy, and I didn't have any bad things occur.
Right.
But that's the thing, is like, you have to be respectful, you have to be humble, you have to be grateful. And I think
Yeah.
once you kind of have that formula and you say thank you, or and somebody says thank you to you, take it in. Appreciate.
Gratitude.
Absolutely. Because who are we without people? I mean, without gratitude, Louisa.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly.
Every morning when I wake up, it's
That's it.
thank you, God. And we see what's happening in the world
That's
right
right.
now.
Yeah, you don't have to shout it
Yeah.
from a rooftop.
Yeah.
You could just internally say that, but it's the way you treat people when you walk into a room. Look, everybody gets mad. I get mad, you get mad, everybody gets mad. And sometimes things just don't go the way you want it, right? But sometimes they do. Here, I'll give you a perfect example. Going back to Euphoria, and Dylan's sitting over here, and this is a kind of Dylan's in this mix on this one.
Yeah.
We're on the red carpet, and then we saw, I'm there with my daughter and Dylan, and then we see Jacob. Jacob showed up a little bit later, and he's, he did all his, photos and stuff, and there's like a little gap, and then there's all the press people who are going to interview.
Yeah.
He didn't do any of that, and he kind of went through and went around the back. And as he's walking, he's 6'5".
Wow, that's tall.
And we're standing on this side, and it's probably what, Dylan, like what, 50 people, 100 people, like with cameras and microphones, and he's on the other side. I'm literally like 30 feet away. And as he's walking, he looks around, and he's head and shoulders higher than everybody, and he sees me, and he goes, and he comes running around.
Wow.
I swear to God, it gave me
Wow.
chills.
What a moment.
Yeah, it's just like, and then I came running this way, and I think that little clip appeared somewhere on
Yeah.
Instagram or somewhere. It's just gratitude, respect, all those things. I work with the guy, but when I'm on set, I'm his equal, and he didn't throw his weight around like he's a big star, which he is, but he never acted like that. None of these guys
Yeah.
do. Denzel Washington never acted like that.
My God. How was that? Talk
Oh my
about
God.
that. I mean, Denzel Washington. If you're listening, Denzel, American Gangster is one of my favorite films. I mean, so many films, but that
Written by Steven Zaillian
yes,
in Armenian.
yes, absolutely.
And directed by the great Ridley Scott.
Yeah. It just, but talk about that. I mean, so many questions to ask you, but you mentioned Denzel, so I just want to
Yeah.
know, how was that process? The most
Well,
humble.
he's very, very grounded. There's an old
Denzel.
saying like, never meet your heroes, because,
Yeah.
they might just disappoint you.
Wow.
Well, he was one of my heroes, not like hero growing up, because he's not that much older than me, but hero in sense of like what he's achieved on the
Right.
screen, right? And then when I met him, my respect factor just went up like tenfold towards him, because he was just a regular guy. Just, you treat him as an equal, he will treat you as an equal back. That's just how life should be, right? And then we were on set, and he kept trying different things. Like, he would change some lines, he would go off script. Like in the final cut of that movie, our scene, the little things.
Yeah.
He calls me Jack. That's not in the script. And then
So cool.
he made up that because he went with the moment, and at one point he just turned around and goes, "What's your name?" It's not in the script. And
Incredible.
if I wasn't prepared, I would go,
Yeah.
You have to
Yeah.
be ready, right? Nobody's yelled cut. You don't stop until the director yells cut. Otherwise, you just keep going, right? It's a live scene.
Yeah.
So he was doing all these things, and at one point I said, "Hey, Denzel, do you want me to try change anything?" He's like, No. This is your scene. I want you to do whatever you need to do.
I have goosebumps.
I swear to God.
Wow,
And this is Denzel Washington.
So much of acting is being in the moment, right? And
It's
improv.
all being in the moment.
All in the moment. You can't even like doze
Kind of
off
like what
somewhere.
we are now.
Like right now. Like
Yeah.
I might have all these questions with my brain, but I'm like, nope, this is great right now.
Absolutely.
Oh my God, Jack, you're so cool.
Gee, thanks.
You're so cool. I mean, I really want to talk about you as a screenwriter, future films, and just everything. But for new followers and listeners that maybe don't know your journey, and I actually don't know a lot about your journey back in the day, maybe just a little about who you were before being an actor, why you wanted to be an actor mid-40s, like what happened, like all of that.
We came to the United States when I was 10, grew up in the Bay Area. I mean,
So from the Bay.
yeah, I've talked about this
Yeah.
other times before. Yeah, my parents, we came from Armenia, which back then it was still the
Yeah.
Soviet Union, Hayastan. I was born in Yerevan,
Yeah.
and we came here, settled in the Bay Area, grew up, started a business, got married, had 3 beautiful
Did
kids.
all the traditional things. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the community is much smaller
Of
over there,
course.
obviously. But I was always in Los Angeles. In fact, being in Hollywood, a couple of blocks away is where my
Yeah.
cousin Varush,
Yeah.
and he's my age.
Varush.
He and I are
Shout
like
out
the
to Varush.
closest together, right? So I would always come and stay with him where Alec Pilipo's school is
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
Well, they lived in an apartment at the time on Kenmore between Hollywood and Sunset.
Incredible.
So every summer I was here, I would spend the summers here. So I got to know like Harut Khachoyan and Harut Pambukjan, all these guys, everybody
The
that I know.
OGs.
The OGs. I
Yeah.
know everybody from back in the day. And every summer I was here. So I kind of grew up here.
Yeah.
But then I lived in the Bay Area. Then after my marriage, we had, I'm still married.
Yeah,
Not after
yeah.
after we got married, we got 3 kids. We have 3 beautiful children who are now in their 20s. And it's something I fell into accidentally, honestly. I never intended to be an actor.
Isn't that weird and so out of the box that you didn't pursue it like that, but it happened and you were the chosen one?
But I was open to receiving it.
Yes. Yeah.
I didn't like block it out. It came my way and I was open to it. It didn't nobody came and said, "Here's this part, go play it." The opportunities came, but I said, "Hey, I'm going to explore this a little bit more." And it felt right for me to want to do this. So I pursued it. And I mean, that was about 10, 12 years ago. And here I am today.
And, it was a risk.
Big
You
risk.
took a risk.
Huge risk.
Having a family and
Huge
children,
risk.
running a business. And
in the Bay Area.
I know.
My agent didn't even know I lived in the Bay Area.
Wow.
Because he wouldn't have given me auditions. He would say like, "How are you gonna come?" So he would like call me. I had a phone number with an 818
Of course you
number.
did.
And he'd call me, "Hey Jack, you have an audition tomorrow?" I'd be on the next Southwest flight over. I swear to God.
You had 2 phones.
I had 2 phones. Of course, I'm Armenian. I have to have 2 phones.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
3 phones, actually.
That's right. Well,
You got-
some have 5, but that's different.
you got to do what you got to do.
Well, that's just it. You believe in yourself, which I've always believed in myself. I'm the person that I gamble on the most. I believe when I walk into a room, I'm responsible for myself, right? And I have to be prepared for that. So, and then when you believe in what it is that you're trying to do, you believe it. Look at you. Look at this amazing show you've created. And, and it's been extremely successful. And I wish you like success tenfold. Because I know you're going to, you will achieve that. But it's going to take time. But you do believe in what you're doing.
Absolutely.
Louisa Live.
This season of Louisa Live is made possible by our exclusive presenting sponsor, Gary Keshishin Real Estate. General sponsors, Lions Partners Insurance, and LA FUE Hair Clinic. Our supporters.
Louisa Live.
And you know, there's like this great energy in this room, you know?
Thank you.
No, that's important. I mean, believe me, I've had some interviews.
I'm all
sometimes
about energy.
Well, it is. So am I. Sometimes, you know, people that know me, they'll go, "Oh, it's energy. What is that? A drink?" I'm like, no, it's not a drink. It's, you know, some people have this like energy.
Aura.
Yeah, and it's like
I've been told.
you have that. I can validate that. But it's like it's good to be around people who are positive, who are driven, who are, you know, successful or on a path to being successful. You know, there's a lot we can learn from one another, you know?
You know, speaking about energy, spirituality, manifestation.
Yeah.
Your whole life you've lived to achieve this moment. Have you noticed that? Like everything that you've done,
It happens for a reason.
it happens for a reason. I
Right.
think with your family, having children and a wife and pursuing this, like did you
Right.
ever think the 10-year-old that came from Armenia is now in Hollywood? Like how do you process that? Did you ever think little Jack had that vision for himself back in the day?
Jack.
No? Jack Topalian. Hakop, right?
Hakop. No, it was I played music when I was in the Bay Area. In high school, we had a rock band. We played a lot of cover tunes like AC/DC, Led Zeppelin, Def Leppard. So I was a rocker. And then later I had an Armenian band, and we would play, like Parahandesnet, Hot
Yeah.
Sonic Net at weddings and stuff. So I was always into the arts, but I never movies. I mean, I love watching movies. I never really thought about becoming an actor. It just so happened, but it felt right, so I went with it. Something feels right for me. It's like people, when you meet somebody, and again, going back to aura and energy,
Yeah.
like you can be friends with this person, or this is someone you could enjoy, having a cup of coffee with or whatever, right? And I look at, kind of life and career choices the same way. If it's not mine, I mean, there's great opportunities out there for lots of different things, and it doesn't mean that they're bad or wrong. They're just not my things, and I've had many opportunities for other businesses or other things. I just never felt right doing it because I didn't feel comfortable. But the opportunity was great, and there's good money in it and this and that. It's just not mine.
Wow.
And it's like roles, sometimes I'll get a role for, they'll send me, a script for and not a lot, but a few times I've just said, I'm going to pass on this because it just doesn't feel right, because I don't think I could do it justice. I just don't see myself playing that character. And I'd rather just pass on it than to kind of waste a producer's or a director's time and pretending that I could play that role. And they're going to look at it, and in fact, it's going to diminish me as an artist, as an actor, because they're not going to see my best work.
Yeah.
So I'd rather just be honest with them. Since we're going full disclosure.
Yeah.
I just passed on a big job, huge job, that was going to film in Prague, in the Czech Republic. They wanted they wanted somebody that spoke a foreign language. I won't get into it, like fluently. And the whole time you have to speak that. And I said, look, I don't speak that language that fluently, but I could fake a little bit of it. But if we're going to do this, and there's a lot of heavy dialogue in there.
Wow.
I said, I can't do it. Now, if you guys are willing to bring on a linguistic coach and give me some time. So I don't know where that's going to go yet, but I was honest with them. My reps appreciate that, because what am I going to do? I'm going to do a couple of tapes. They're going to see I can do that. But then when I get on set, I'm there like 2 months, 3 months. How am I going to pull all that out? it's not going to be a good look. Why would I lie? Why would I jeopardize my reputation and waste everybody's time? Comes back to that whole respect thing, right?
Yeah.
I
And
respect their,
yourself.
of course.
Yeah.
So I'd rather just be upfront with it. And if they really want me, and I've played characters where I speak different languages, okay. And I'm happy to do it, but as long as they know what's up. And if they call me back, we'll see. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, and I think it takes time to know yourself, though, to be confident to say no.
Yeah.
Because if
There's great power in saying no.
Oh my God, it's hard to say no.
But it's great. There's great power in saying no.
Talk
I tell
about
my kids.
that. How do you say no and be confident about it and not regret it?
Well, you could always have certain thoughts about it, but I think if it feels right here and here, because that's my judge for me, the gut. I always go by my gut. Gut instinct never redirects me wrong. I'm always on when I follow my gut. And it took me a while to learn, you know, to say no. But saying no is very powerful. And not like a rejection, but just being able to say something like, I don't think I'm right for that part, or I don't think I'm good for this particular business, or I am not available, you know, for this appointment, or whatever the case may be, right? There's nothing wrong with that. I think too many times we want to please everyone. And I think sometimes when we're pleasing everyone, we're not pleasing ourselves. You know, we're just being very, and it's, you know, you can still be cordial, you can still be nice, you can still be polite, but yet say no. You don't have to be rude about it. And the other person will understand. But I think if sometimes you say yes to everything, and then you're in a situation and you're going, man, I wish I never said yes to this. I don't know if you've ever been in that, but it's
always, like, I wish I canceled. Like, why am I here right now?
Yeah, why
Tired
did I
as
say?
hell.
Yeah.
I want to be home sleeping. And that's hard even sometimes in our culture. Like,
It is.
right?
Yeah.
Expectations, events, family. It's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I got invited to something tonight by some friends, and they're having a little get together. And I said, listen, I can't because I have something else that I need to do tonight. And I said, I appreciate you guys thinking of me, but I can't make it. Oh, come on, you know, can't you?
Yeah.
And I said, look, if I could change it, I would, but I can't. And, well, what time are you going to be done? I said, I don't know,
Yeah.
you know, maybe 9, 10. Well, call us after, you know, they're
Yeah,
still
of
not,
course,
they're
of
not
course.
letting go,
Pero
right?
Zangi.
And I said, look, 99.9% Chem Galu.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
like, I'm not going to come. But it's like, there's nothing wrong with saying that.
Yeah.
And it's not like they're going to be like, you know, angry at me. No. Because I didn't do it in a disrespectful way. I did it in a proper way, if you will. You know?
And I feel like family has to also understand that too, going back to your family and having children and a wife,
yeah.
right? So you have really evolved into this amazing, incredible actor, but you're a father.
Of course.
And you are a husband.
Yes.
Talk about that a bit and how your kids are taking all this in. Like, you're a cool dad in so many ways. I'm sure, like, hey, my dad's on Euphoria. Like,
my kids are like my
tell me
biggest fans. I
how
swear to
cute.
God. Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Like my daughter Elizabeth has been on set with me a couple of times. So she's met Jacob. She's met, you know, Sydney and Sam and pretty much everybody.
Everyone.
Yeah, she was on set with me like 2 or 3 times. My other son Stepan has been with me like at the rap party.
right.
You know, and he's met a whole bunch of people and you know, and they're saying like, and they're all talking about me and then he's like, Dad, they're all talking about you. And I kind of get embarrassed, honestly. You know, it's like not embarrassed because people are, you know, talking about me, but I don't like to
Thomas
brag.
Bishop.
I
Yeah.
just don't like to
Yeah.
brag because it's, you know, I've seen too many people in life who just brag. Usually most people that brag, they amount to nothing, you know, and that's an unfortunate situation. So I just don't like to brag. I just, you know, if people judge me in a good way, that's great. I like being humble. So yeah, my kids have been amazing. And then they're like, my son Shant is like, he's like really tech savvy. And you know my future daughter-in-law,
Yes, I
Anush
do.
too.
Anush, shout
Yeah,
out
yeah,
to
yeah.
Anush.
Anush
She's
who
great.
works with Shushan and Ladybug.
Ladybug Catering. We just enjoyed their lunch.
That's right. And the cookies. Those
yes.
cookies were amazing, Shushan.
Incredible.
Yeah, and then you know
yeah.
my son's other fiance, Angelica. You know she's like
Yeah.
sending me all these they're like sending me all these like tweets, not tweets, but like TikTok videos. It's crazy.
Viral. Yeah, you're going.
I don't
viral.
even know how to do half that stuff. But then I guess, you know, the younger generation, they create all these TikTok videos.
Yeah.
Some of them have gone viral, like a couple of million views.
Incredible.
They're taking my character and they've twisted, you know, the way they kind of did the whole montage sequence. It's
You're a
pretty crazy.
superstar. You're a superstar.
I don't know if I'm a superstar.
You are.
No.
And you know, talk about the Armenian representation that we have now in Hollywood versus maybe 15, 20 years ago where, you know, a lot of us had to change last names and all of that, and it was so much of a minority. Now, do you feel like we are more welcomed and people are more comfortable sharing Armenian stories or hiring Middle Eastern actors?
Look, I've always felt comfortable being an Armenian. I have never lied about being an Armenian. Anybody that knows me throughout my life, no matter what career I've been in, they've always known I'm Armenian.
Yeah.
So I'm an extremely proud Armenian.
I love that.
I grew up in America, so I'm an American who happens to come from Armenia. So I'm proud of my ethnicity,
Yeah.
but I'm extremely proud to be an American as well, right? But I've never felt anybody judge me because of that, honestly.
That's amazing.
Especially in Hollywood. You know, look, I'm an actor, and most of the times I don't play Armenians.
Right.
I play Russians, or I play Iranians, or I play Israelis, or Greek, or Italian, whatever the case may be, right? It's like, it's great to play an Armenian, and I know how to interpret it a lot better, but at the end of the day, I'm just an actor. And there's a bunch of other talented people in Hollywood nowadays, you know, that are not only in front of the camera, but behind the camera. I mean, look at like Sev Ohanyan and Natalie
Yes.
Kasabian, his wife,
Yes.
what they have achieved. You know, Sev just won the
Incredible.
Oscar with Sinners. I mean, an amazing
Golden
career.
Globe, Oscar, so
I mean, I've known
much.
Sev a long time, you
Yeah.
know. I remember the first time he and I met, we had like, we met at Rafi's Kebab, you know. We ate together. That was
Incredible.
many years ago, right? And he has achieved a lot of things in his career. Now, he has achieved that not because he was Armenian. He achieved that because he's Sev Ohanyan. Now, the fact that he is Armenian, he's very proud of that.
Right.
And he's spoken about that before. And I've heard him in many places. So same thing for me, you know. So Armenians do represent a culture, or how should I say, they do have representation in Hollywood in various facts. Steven Zaillian, another person we
Yes.
just mentioned.
I met him a few years ago.
Yeah.
Incredible. He wrote The Irishman.
He wrote, are you kidding me? He wrote a bunch of things.
But still, that one just came to my
Moneyball,
mind.
Irishman, you know, American
Moneyball,
Gangster.
Oh my God.
I mean, you
love that
know,
movie.
The Night of. I mean, he's like Schindler's List. He wrote
Incredible.
Schindler's
I know
List.
he did.
It's crazy, right? But it's like, but he's a writer. He's Armenian, but he's a writer.
I know.
So I think there's room for Armenian stories and Armenian content, but I think the stories should be done in such a way, in my opinion, that it's part of American culture.
I agree. 'Cause
You know,
we do live here.
we live
We're
here.
American Armenians.
Of
Like, I'm
course.
such a proud American
Of
Armenian.
course.
I love, and you are too.
Of course. My children were born here. They're American. They just happen to have Armenian parents, you know, and they're Armenian Americans. So we should be very proud of that fact. But going back to stories, we have many stories to tell. And the thing is that people will probably pay attention. You know, like I've done a couple of projects of my own. And some of those have gone viral, meaning globally. In fact, that's funny. I just posted something today. My rep said, hey, why don't you post this? Because I did a film about 10, 12 years ago. And I play a character named Vaz, who's an Armenian businessman living in Glendale. And then his daughter gets kidnapped. And
Which
so it's-
film was this?
This was
The-
Betrayal.
Betrayal. Okay.
And
have
I
to watch
did the
that.
very first big Armenian red carpet event at the 5-star cinemas on Artsakh. Now it's called Look Theaters.
Yeah, I love that.
So we
theater.
had this
Oh,
huge
wow.
event, and the thing has gone global.
Okay.
It's in multiple languages, and my rep said, "Hey, this is kind of like Nas in Euphoria."
Yeah.
So they said, "Hey, why don't you get like a little clip and put it?" And I think that and my daughter helped me with the thing. It says, "Before Nas, there was Vaz."
Oh, that's genius. Oh, that's so good.
So
The millennials.
yeah,
We know what we're
yeah.
doing.
I said, what should I write? But the stories are there, and I think we have to be
Incredible.
able to tell them in a context that people, not just Armenians, but everyone can be receptive to it, and it has to be a story that that resonates with them, that they could understand. Look, perfect example of that, My Big Fat Greek Wedding.
Yes.
It was about Greeks, but the way they kind of did it, every culture under the sun understood that story and got it. It was like Hispanics, Asians, no matter where you were from, you could see yourself being a part of that family.
In that wedding somewhere, drinking vodka.
Don't we all have like, like my dad? Every time I say something, he says, this is from Armenia. The first guy was Armenian.
Yeah.
And what does the guy in the Greek wedding says? This word was invented by this Greek whatever, right?
Yes.
Every culture does that,
and
right?
use everything. Windex cleans everything, and Windex
That's right.
is the source
My dad
word.
doesn't use Windex, but he's very proud of our culture, as are other people. But I think if we can create a story where all of our cultures are like we live in America, I think that story or those stories have a long way to go, in my opinion.
And speaking of stories, you are also a screenwriter, right? So what are you working on anything right now, or can you talk about that or not yet?
One of them is
That's
kind of in pre-production at this point.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I don't want to give too much stuff away. So I have two projects in the works. One is a little more further ahead than the other one, but again, they do have some Armenian things in there, and that's a world I understand. But I also like this whole, I like mystery. I like, the crime genre. I like, the tension, the lots of twists and turns. You don't know where
plot twists and everything.
Yeah, like you're watching something, all of a sudden it goes left, and you're going, oh my God, how did I miss that?
Where did that come from? Yeah.
And that's what I think good, when I watch content on television or in movies, I'm always looking for that, and I'm going, wow, that's a great movie, or that was a great TV show, So I try to create something like that with my own spin on it. So
what do you enjoy more, acting or writing?
I'd say probably first is acting. I really enjoy being in front of the camera. I like bringing the characters to life, but I also, I also love writing. I mean, I've also directed too.
Wow.
Yeah.
All those hats. Amazing.
It's a tough thing to be able to do all of those, like direct and act, because when you're in front of the camera, you have to trust somebody. Like, am I doing it right? Should I change it? I understand other actors when I'm directing them because I come from acting. But I'd rather my number one choice would be just to be the actor. That would be my number one choice. And then number two would probably be just to be like a writer. Yeah. Create the stories, that kind of a thing.
And being a multi-hyphenate in show business is so common. Let's talk about that, because a lot of the younger generation that's growing up looking at us, or other viewers, they might say, oh, just be an actress, or just be a lawyer, or just focus on one thing. But so much of our industry, we can do this and that, and that's normal now in 2026.
Of course.
You could be a filmmaker and then director and then a producer, right? And that's normal.
Look at Ben Affleck. He's a writer, director, producer, and he created this like AI company, right? Like, I don't know if you read about that. And a lot of other artists, do that, or they do other things. Or look at Johnny Depp right now. He's a musician. He's like touring with his band.
Yeah.
He's like a rock star or whatever. Again, I don't know the music or the band that much, but I do read about it. So you can do multiple things. No one's saying you should just do one thing. I think whatever it is you do, first you have to really love it. And then you really have to enjoy doing it. Sometimes like, I love this, but I would love to eat that food. But if you don't eat the food, then it's just like love from a distance, right? So you really have to enjoy doing it. And then I think the third is just finding the time to do it. Yeah. I always like the word. I never limit myself when I want to try something or do something. Like if I feel like I could be good at this, I follow it.
And you did that the unconventional way. So let's say people watching right now who are maybe, early 50s or even late 60s, and they have all these goals. Any advice for them? Because you took such a unconventional route and it's working out. Let's just say what it is. Like, it's working out so well, but it's a risk that you took.
Look, every day is a risk.
Yeah.
And I don't want, you or anyone to think that, okay, Jack has made it.
Right.
Look, I'm fortunate enough to be where I am today, but I don't take that for granted. And I take that with humility and gratefulness, but I know I still have a lot of work that I still need to do. And if I want to continue to grow, I have to keep working at it. But to your question is, if somebody says, hey, I want to do this, I'm at this particular age, like me, I got into this in my 40s. If somebody wants to do this, the Colonel Sanders failed in every business, and I think he was 63 or KFC. 65. He was 65 years old when KFC took off.
I love that.
It's like the guy never gave up. So my advice to anyone is follow your gut, follow your goals and dreams, but don't just sit on it and just dream about it. You got to work for it. You got to plan for it. You got to study. You got to be prepared. And when the opportunity comes up, you got to be able to take advantage of that opportunity. Yeah. It's like, but you should try it if you want to do it. I'm one of those guys that I never look back in life. I'll never say, I wish I'd have done that. No, I'm not that guy.
You just do it all and no regrets.
I mean, look, whatever it is within a norm, right? It's like, I'm not, I don't want to fly to space. I don't know. I wouldn't even be able to.
Jeff Bezos, we're coming.
Well, hey, Jeff wants to do it. He certainly,
He'll take us.
He can build that spaceship the way he wants it. Right? There's no shortage of funds.
Oh, that's
But
funny.
I think, it's like, hey, if I want to travel, then I'll talk to my wife and kids. It's like, hey, let's do this. And we'll go. That's another thing I love doing is traveling and stuff. Yeah.
Family time, travel, and
Absolutely.
all of that.
It's one of the best times.
And you're probably looking forward to a nice, traveling experience this summer, maybe some time off.
Yeah. Not too much.
Yeah.
Not too much traveling this summer. I mean, we have some other things coming up.
Yeah.
But,
I know.
Yeah.
Exciting.
No, it is. It is exciting time.
Yeah, it is.
But yeah, I'm always looking forward. I love, the thing I like about traveling is meeting just different people, different cultures. And we're always going off the beaten path sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like last year, while I was filming Euphoria, and I told Sam and the other producers, and I said, hey, we're going to go to Italy at the middle of October, mid to late October, because my daughter Elizabeth was studying in Florence.
Oh, wow.
She did this 3-month, overseas with her college. So we said, hey, it was our anniversary, so we said we're gonna go to Europe. And then my son Shant and Anush said, hey, we want to come. And then my son Stepan and Angelica said, we want to come. So we made this this whole big family event. We went to Paris, we went to Florence. We spent that time together, my kids and their fiancés and my daughter, they all knew all the cool restaurants to go to and all the cool spots. So I got to experience stuff. If it was just my wife and I, we'd probably go to the traditional places.
But they did all the other new hip things, maybe.
Oh my God, we we went to this one burger joint in Paris. It was to die for.
Wow.
I don't remember the name.
I'm sure I saw Anush post a lot of stuff.
Oh my God,
she's the best at what she does.
She does. She's really good at that. But it's traveling also gives me an opportunity to learn about other cultures, learn about their habits, and when it comes to acting, say I get cast as an Italian guy, well, I have a lot to draw on.
Life experiences to bring to each role.
Of course.
And that's what I love about people who pursue acting or different things, maybe middle age, because they've lived so much life. Versus, let's say, if you were an actor at 19, 18, it's not that you won't be successful, but maybe early 40s or early 50s, you have so much life experience that it just oozes off the screen. right?
That does help.
It helps.
It does
right? 'Cause
help.
you've been in those situations.
Yeah, I mean that's how I kind of do it. But I think when you're younger and if you don't have those life experiences, if you really want to play that role,
Right.
you could really dive into it and study it. Nowadays, I mean, you have YouTube, you have all these other social.
I know.
Like if you want to
ChatGPT, AI, everything.
like if you're 20 years old and all of a sudden you have to study, you have to play a student that lived in Paris, or whatever, right? You could just find some videos and like do your homework. That's what
Yeah.
I meant. Is like
Yeah.
be prepared.
Be prepared.
And you can do that.
Google, do something.
Look at all these young stars on Euphoria.
I know.
I mean, they're superstars now. Look at Zendaya.
I know.
She's got what, like 4 movies coming out this year? 5 movies? I mean, it's crazy.
Such a global show. The show is
The
just
show,
incredible.
the ratings are,
Yeah.
through the roof this season.
Oh my God!
And it's-
Congratulations! Wow.
Thank you. And it's like a very different season because seasons 1 and 2, were a little different. This one has a different feel to it, and it's drawing new audiences because I don't think it's not even like a TV show. I told Sam, and he actually even talked about it. This is more like a movie. I think we're watching like 8 one-hour movies because he filmed it on 65 millimeter film.
Wow.
Like we should be in the theater watching some of these.
Maybe in the future.
I hope so.
A few years down the line, a movie.
I hope so.
Well,
We'll see.
whatever. We never know. Well, we can talk forever. And before we wrap, I always ask every guest 2 questions.
Okay.
But before I ask those 2, I know he's waiting for me to wrap. But I just want your personal opinion on Hollywood and maybe typecasting. And has that ever affected you?
Not me personally,
Okay.
no. I mean, I've heard, but it's never happened to me. Sometimes I'll read comments
Right.
like, why are we always portrayed this?
Right.
Look, first of all, you don't have to play that role. Okay?
You can say yes or no. Yeah.
Exactly. The great power in saying no.
No.
You could always say no. You don't want it, don't play it. That's the way the guy wrote the story. You don't have to play it. So I've never been personally typecast because if you see the different, characters that I've played, in fact, my character on Sugar, season 2 of Sugar,
Yes. Also talk about that.
which is coming up with like Colin Farrell.
Yes.
It's a completely different character.
Wow. June 19, guys.
Yeah,
Wow.
that drops, and that's a pretty amazing show. You've never seen Sugar season 1? It's got a cool twist on that, and that's a great show. But it's a totally different feel. Like, so people that see me on Euphoria, they're gonna see me in a different role. So again, going to your question, I've never been typecast, and there's certain roles I like better than others. But again, no typecasting for me personally.
I love that answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the second question?
Yeah. Well, I have the last 2 questions that I love to ask everyone. If you had your very own billboard on Sunset Boulevard and you had the chance to say anything on it, just a message that you want people to see driving by, what would it say?
Respect, gratitude. Yeah.
Respect and gratitude.
Yeah.
Okay. You remind me of Tony Soprano. I just got sitting on that chair.
I don't know. It's just
Sopranos for
one
life.
of
I love
those.
it. I don't know why.
It's like one of those things, Yeah, I know.
I love that in a great way. That energy.
But it's just
respect.
that's what it comes down to at the end of the day.
I love that.
I respect you, respect me. You don't respect me, I walk
Mm-hmm.
away. And be thankful. Somebody opens the door for you. Somebody gives you an opportunity. Be thankful.
So many
Just-
lessons.
Just say thank you. It doesn't take much to say thank you. What's the harm? Oh my God, I said thank you. Yes, you actually invited me here today. Thank you for the invitation.
Yeah, for sure.
You didn't have to.
I wanted to.
No, you
I know,
wanted
I
to.
know, I'm
But it's.
joking.
I'm saying
Of
thank you for
course.
inviting
Yeah.
me. So that's what I would put on that billboard. Yeah.
And my last question is, what have you purchased under $100?
Mm-hmm.
Something simple that just changed your life.
Purchased $100. Can it be something I ate?
Yeah. Well, if you purchased it, of course. I
Well,
mean,
yeah.
you
'cause
did.
I was like, I mean,
just something that changed
I've
your
had
life.
I've had some great meals, and I do like to eat, and so
Armenians love to eat. We have the best food.
yeah, we do like to eat. So I can't think of like anything
thing,
other than
but
that,
just
but
food.
like
You're a foodie.
I love food. I love
Yum.
trying, and most of that stuff is under $100.
Yeah.
You're getting a sandwich or a pizza or whatever it is that you're getting.
Amazing. Oh, wow. Well, Jack, before we wrap this up, any last words for our audience listening?
No, I would
watching?
just say, listen. First of all, congratulations to you, because I think you're an example of people who want to do things, and you've jumped in and you've done it. So I wish you much continued success. And to our listeners, I would just say, listen, whatever your dreams are, whatever your goals are, whatever you have in your mind, follow it through. If it doesn't work out, that's okay. Move on to something else, you know? You know, Mark Cuban, one of my favorite shows that I watch is Shark Tank.
Of course.
He's got a cool saying, every no gets you closer to a yes. And that's kind of how life is.
Amazing.
So
thank you so much for joining me today.
thanks for having me.
And congrats on everything.
Thank you so much.
Louisa Live.